Welcome to the 365 Science podcast series, a daily adventure for all curious minds who love to discover extraordinary secrets in the ordinary. I'm Flank, and I'll take you on a daily exploration of a seemingly ordinary yet intriguing scientific mystery in a way you can. Today, we'll dive into a furry, splashing ocean. Paradise to solve a survival puzzle you might never have considered. Why do sea otters hold hands? Yes, those little animals you might only think of as floaters, shell-cracking creatures and adorable. But if we zoom in, you'll see a scene straight out of a romantic comedy. In the surging waves as the entire ocean rocks, sea otters float, hand in hand like a sweet couple. They have no life buoys, no anchor, chains, and certainly no GPS. So, how do these little sailors prevent their entire family from drifting apart while they sleep or rest? Today, we'll uncover this literally story of kinship, physics, and survival wisdom. Before we begin, let's play a little mental warm-up game, which I call the hand-in-hand conjecture. Don't worry, no writing is required, just use your brain. Can you guess? Are sea otters romantic animals? Or do they have their own drift prevention system? How far can a lone sea otter drift? When a group of sea otters gather together, are they a pack or a floating raft? Leave your first thought in mind. Our exploration might surprise you. Part 1. Miniature biological anchor. Chains, the hand-in-hand magic of a sea otter. First, let's dispel a common misconception. Sea otters are not the land mammals we often think of as clumsy as bears, but they are also far from being completely passive drifters at the mercy of the waves. They are masters of the ocean, possessing amazing buoyancy, adjustment abilities. The secret lies in their fur and behavior. Imagine the sea otter's body harbors the world's smallest super buoyancy device, dense fur. When they need to rest, this fur rapidly traps air. But amazingly, even when sea otters aren't swimming and are simply floating, they can consciously and tightly grip seaweed. This action doesn't create waves, but it provides a stable anchor. It's like how you hold onto a float board repeatedly and quickly in a swimming pool to keep your body steady. A sea otter can fix itself in place and avoid drifting away through this entanglement anchoring. This is their biological anchor chain. But for a sea otter, its anchor chain is like a thin thread in the vast ocean. Thus, the story enters its more exciting second chapter. Let's delve deeper into this fur system. Sea otters have incredibly dense fur with 100,000 hairs per square centimeter. This not only provides warmth but also acts like a hovercraft, helping them float. They spend time grooming their fur daily, applying oil for waterproofing. Studies show that sea otters have a body temperature of 37 degrees Celsius and must protect themselves from cold water. Did evolution give them a thick layer of fat? No, sea otters rely on their fur and metabolism. They eat 25% of their body weight in food, burning calories daily. Key behavior: entanglement with seaweed. Wild sea otters often use giant kelp as an anchor. California study: 90% of sea otters entangle themselves in algae while sleeping. Holding hands? Rare but common among mothers and cubs. A video from the Vancouver Aquarium went viral, showing two otters holding hands. But this is rarely seen in the wild. Scientists say that holding hands is a supplementary anchoring technique, especially in algae-free areas. Let's talk about limbs. Sea otters have flexible, hand-like forepaws. They use their claws to smash rocks and eat shellfish. They are tool users, the only marine mammals that use tools. They dive up to 50 times a day to find sea urchins and crabs. Smashing shellfish requires skill using their chests as tables. Research. Alaskan otters prefer stone tools. The magic of an otter holding hands is a combination of physiology and habit. Think about history. Sea otters were once endangered due to fur hunting. Hunting was banned in 1911 but has now been restored. They are ecologically crucial, eating sea urchins to protect kelp forests. Without otters, sea urchins would overeat algae, leading to ecological collapse. But while individual otters are skillful, groups are even more dynamic. Part 2. The superorganism. The collective wisdom of otter packs holding hands is a basic anchoring skill for an individual sea. But the cooperation of an otter pack is the real magic. The entire otter colony can be viewed as a superorganism, a living organism with collective intelligence, composed of hundreds of living cells. Sea otters? How do they avoid drifting? Their strategies are astonishingly ingenious. Strategy 1. The otter raft insulation layer. This is the most spectacular sight of them resting. When the waves are high, the otters gather on the surface, forming a tightly packed otter raft. The structure of this raft is extremely scientific. Outer layer otters. They act like a buffer layer wearing a furry coat tightly packed together to reduce drifting. The outer layer otters periodically exchange positions with the inner layer to avoid fatigue. Inner layer otters. They are the anchors frantically using their algae binding skills to become the stable core. Core position. The mother otter is always placed in the safest and warmest position in the raft's center, ensuring the protection of the cubs. This otter raft can adjust its density according to the ocean current. The bigger the waves, the tighter the raft, and the better the drift prevention effect. They can even precisely control their position by adjusting the size of the raft, keeping overall drift to a minimum a golden way for the family to survive. Let's discuss this raft shape in detail. Otter packs typically consist of 10 to 100 individuals with males and females separated. Male otters have larger territories while females lead their cubs. Why do they hold hands? To prevent them from drifting apart. Research shows that in Monterey Bay, California, otters on rafts float and sleep holding hands, especially mothers and cubs holding each other's paws, prevents the cubs from drifting. The raft sides provide warmth. The seawater is cold and cuddling provides warmth. Strategy 2. Precise local holding, protective control of the cub area. For growing cubs, location requirements are extremely stringent. They must remain stably near their mothers with minimal error. Drifting would be dangerous or cause them to get cold. So, who acts as this precise anchor controller? The answer is the mother otter. Mother otters will hold their cubs for extended periods, directly transmitting stability to the little ones through a tight grip on their paws. They act like living, moving anchor chains, pulling wherever the waves are strong. Research has also found that sea otters can even determine their location by sensing subtle changes in water flow or achieving incredibly precise control. For example, after giving birth, the mother otter floats with her cubs clasped to her chest. The cubs have thick fur but cannot swim. The mother otters dive and eat solid food. Mutual assistance within the group. And otters help care for the pups. The result: high pup survival rate. In the raft, they hold hands like chains. Strategy 3. Stable pipelines and distribution. With stability established, how does it circulate in the complex ocean? Maze composed of currents and algae forests. The otters utilize the most basic physical principle: buoyancy balance. They leave tiny gaps inside the raft or between paths. Heat generated in the inner layer dissipates by clustering together, warming the group while preventing it from getting cold, while the outer and rear drifting areas are filled by the otters moving and adjusting their positions. The entire otter colony is like a living, self-regulating floating rafter system. Even more ingenious is that if an otter drifts off course, the group will collectively turn to pull it back or reset by entanglement in algae. Yes, they even activate emergency, but that's another story. Let's take a breath and digest this grand project of the marine world. Doesn't it feel like these tiny sea otters suddenly possess the combined skills of sailors, parents, and architects? Now, let's expand on this part. Think about otter socialization. Sea otters have strong personalities. Some are playful, some are serious. Research: Seattle Aquarium otters have circles of friends. In the raft, position signifies status. Older otters occupy the middle, younger ones the sides. Groups also use it for warmth and weight loss. Otters have high metabolisms and eat a lot. The raft sides conserve energy, so they swim less. Evolutionarily, drifting otters were eliminated. Their genes selected for ANCAs. Case study: Prince William Sound, Alaska. A group of otters faced a storm. They held tightly together in their raft, hand in hand. 90% survived. Individual otters only survived 70%. This proves collective wisdom. Another perspective: tool sharing. In the group, otters borrow stones like a toolbox. Young otters learn to smash shells watching their mothers. Otters also play rolling, chasing like a game, burning calories, practicing skills. Historical extension: indigenous people used otter sweaters. Russian otter hunting led to a population decline. Today, conservation efforts have brought otters back. Cultural trivia: in Japan, otters are portrayed as intelligent in mythology. Disney animation features adorable otters. Videos of otters holding hands are incredibly popular. Ecological roles. They eat sea urchins, protecting algae. Algae absorb carbon, helping the earth. Without otters, coastlines would be barren. Part 3. Lesser-known facts, details. That will make you. Wow, fuel is seafood. Sea otters holding hands to prevent drifting isn't random, it requires energy. Their fuel is sea urchins and shellfish. A colony of otters eats tons of seafood a day. To maintain this biological anchor raft, therefore, hunting isn't just about filling their stomachs, but also about accumulating buoyancy power. Not all sea otters hold hands. Male otters travel alone during the breeding season because they compete for territory, consuming resources and becoming a burden on the raft. The stability of an otter colony is reserved only for members useful to the family. Does water flow determine behavior? Research suggests that subtle differences in wave variations experienced by young otters during their growth period may, such as whether they become more adept at leading the raft or more adept at solo hunting. Water flow is like a sophisticated programming code. The mother otter's exclusive anchor raft. The mother otter receives the highest priority and most abundant protective resources, ensuring the healthy development of her future offspring. Let's delve deeper into some lesser-known facts. Otters have a stone collection. Each otter has a favorite stone hidden in its armpit, used specifically for cracking shells. Research. California otters pass on stones as inheritance. Interesting facts. Otters can hold their breath for 5 minutes. They can dive to 80 meters. Like divers. Another wow. Otter fur doesn't get wet. A bubble layer keeps them dry. Helps them float. Evolutionary history. Otter ancestors came from land otters. Millions of years ago, they adapted to the sea. Fossils from Alaska. Cultural trivia. In China, otter fishermen used otters to catch fish. An ancient technique. More fascinating facts. Otters use their bellies as tables when eating. Like a juggling act. Otter calls are diverse. A mating whistle, an alarm, cry, experiment. GPS tracking of an otter raft. Moving 10 kilometers per day. Otters are afraid of sharks. The raft sides act as a watchdog. Otters are intelligent and quick at solving puzzles. Used in aquariums for training. So, what can we, as curious individuals, learn from the wisdom of sea otters huddling, or what can we do? Action 1. Become a drifting observer. Next time you see sea otters on the beach or in a documentary, please keep a safe distance. Observe them with renewed respect. Imagine that within that furry body, an incredibly sophisticated, evolutionarily driven universe of anchors and rafts is at work. In summer, they float and sleep on their rafts. In winter, they huddle together for warmth. Let's expand on this action. Try watching a National Geographic documentary. Observe the movement of the otter's paws and guess why. Inspire your water safety. Action 2. Understand the physical meaning of affection. Sea otters tell us that the anchoring of an individual and otters' entanglement in algae is limited. But through effective raft design, division of labor, and sharing the outer otters' cushioning, the collective can create a miracle-stable position that surpasses the sum. This is not just a metaphor of huddling, it's a reality based on physics and biology. Think of human applications. Family camping, holding hands to prevent getting lost. Otters inspire the design of life rafts. Action 3. Appreciate the simplicity and efficiency of design. Sea otters didn't invent ropes and hooks. They used their claws, seaweed, and fur to build a zero-cost, renewable, and perfect anti-drift system. This provides endless biomimetic inspiration for our marine engineering and survival design. For example, engineers can learn to build rafts and floating platforms. Divers can learn to wrap themselves in anti-drift straps. Action 4. Share this cool fact. This is definitely a refreshing topic of conversation. You can start with, "Hey, did you know that sea otters are actually genius anti-drift experts? They hold hands to prevent being scattered by waves." You'll become the interesting and informative person in your social circle. Add Action 5. Practice the hand-holding experiment. Try walking hand in hand with your family for a week. Record your feelings like a journal. Discover the otter pattern. Action 6. Support otter conservation. Sea otters face oil spills. Donate or spread the word to help this legend. Action 7. Read related books. Find otter ecology and delve deeper. Or watch TED Talks about the ocean. Action 8. Simulate raft floating. At home, put a toy otter in the bathtub. Add water and watch it float. Fun learning. Action 9. From bird watching to otter watching. From the park to the beach. Bring binoculars and look for rafts. Action 10. Make otter crafts. Draw otter hands holding each other and teach children. Popular science fun. So, see, science isn't far away, it's hidden in the encounter between a wave and a sea otter, hidden in the chain shadow of a raft floating on the sea. When we start asking these seemingly childish whys, we open a door to the complex, exquisite, and awe-inspiring natural world. Hopefully, today's story about the masters of hand-holding with sea otters will be like a sea breeze refreshing your curiosity. Remember, the world is full of secrets waiting to be unlocked, and this podcast is one of your universal keys. 365 Life. See you tomorrow.